Most of us know the Turian Soldier from Mass Effect 3 as that one kit that made all bad guns viable, or all the good ones absolutely pounce on head insane. Unfortunately, Marksman didn't make it into Andromeda, but instead we got something similar, which is Turbocharge. Turbocharge is basically what the Turian Soldier revolves around, similar to Marksman in that regard, but you can spec it in a couple of different ways to suit different weapons. So with that being said, this isn't really a specific build guide per se, but more of a general guideline about where you should be distributing your points. Playstyle and weapon choice always plays a factor in your builds, but in this it also plays a big factor into where you're going to be placing your ranks, so I'll be taking that into consideration too when discussing powers and abilities. The first ability we're going to talk about is Fortify. Fortify is a skill which I don't really rate very highly, but in the Turian Soldier's case I rate frag grenades even lower, so we're going to dump a whole 6 ranks into this. Like many Turian rank evolutions, rank 4 can go either way. I prefer to be a bit more mobile and aggressive when playing, so I prefer to choose mobility over the extra damage protection. However, if you utilise your jetpack well enough, you can actually mitigate the movement speed penalties to a certain degree, so this really boils down to how good your ability to stay alive is. Rank 5 falls into a similar category, but this time it's survivability versus weapon bonuses. As a huge fan of shooting things in the face, I prefer to pick the weapon stability and accuracy over the shield and health regeneration bonuses, since more stability and accuracy generally means more bullets that land in faces. And lastly, rank 6. Rank 6 has 2 relatively strong evolutions. One that's going to reward a more stationary turret style of play, and the other which is going to allow you to stun the odd enemy and set them up for detonation by purging your Fortify. However, I don't really like either of these, and instead of choosing to take 6 ranks in Fortify, I prefer to dump 5 in it and take 3 in Frag Grenade. If you're a hold the line sort of player though, then unmoving defense in Fortify is your best choice here though. Moving on to Turbocharge. This one's a bit more clear cut in terms of what I think is the objective best spec. Duration at rank 4 because more DACA is always the right choice, rank 5 damage and force is just a straight DPS increase, and rank 6 supercharge is more DACA and more DPS with increases to clip size and fire rate. Pretty standard spec I think. There's another area of discussion to be had here though, and that's weapon choice. Personally I like to use snipers, and I would argue that Turbocharge and Turian passives actually makes the Soldier the best sniper platform in the game. The Black Widow, Valiant, Raptor and Indra all transform from being barely more than mediocre to being some of the strongest weapons in the game. Oh, and I guess the Vanquisher's okay as well. Aside from snipers, medium to high capacity assault rifles like the Revenant, Falcon or Thokin, full auto shotguns like the Piranha and most SMGs will receive dramatic buffs to their DPS when turbocharged. Oh, and activating Turbocharge will give you a reload for free, and you can gain a decent amount of DPS by activating it when you've just run out of ammo in your clip. Refilling ammo via ammo packs will also instantly reload your weapon too, so do keep this in mind when turbocharging as well. Next up is Frag Grenade. Frag Grenades aren't particularly powerful, but they can be used to spam at groups of enemies when Turbocharge is on cooldown. I like to take this to rank 3, but if you prefer to take rank 6 Fortify, then I suggest you do that instead. Other than that, there isn't really much else to be said here. It's a grenade, you chuck it and it explodes. Do note that you can blow yourself up with it though. Munitions training is one of the most useful passive tree in the game, for weapons platforms at least. For rank 4 you'll want weapons upgrades, and the same for rank 5 too, since frag grenade and melee aren't primary sources of damage. But rank 6 is an interesting one, and it's really dependent on what weapon you're actually using on the soldier. If you're using a fully automatic bullet hose, then you're going to be wanting to take the sustained evolution, since you can quickly rack up and maintain the maximum debuff. However, if you're using any sort of precision weapon or just one with low clip size, then the precision evolution will serve you better, just because of the increased damage, accuracy and stability it provides. And lastly, the combat fitness tree. I personally go for maximum durability, taking health and shields for rank 4, defensing positioning for rank 5, and hold the line for rank 6. When you combine these bonuses with the damage resistance from Fortify, you'll actually be hard pushed to die, unless you're playing with your elbows of course. As for the playstyle, it's not overly complicated. You want to be sticking to long lanes and choke points like the outside areas of Firebase 0 for example, and keeping your turbocharge up as often as you can of course. Past that, it's all about hitting crit spots and just chucking as much DPS downrange as you possibly can. The build order for this would be maxing out Turbocharge first, then Munitions training, then Fitness, then 5 into Fortify, and lastly putting 3 ranks into Frag Grenade. If you have trouble staying alive without any fitness though, you may want to consider putting 3 or 4 ranks into this first though. And that just about wraps it up for the Turian Soldier. It's not an overly complex kit, but it is in my opinion one of the strongest in the game. Thanks for watching, goodbye.